Imagine waking up in the morning, stretching your arms, and realizing that something as simple as getting out of bed feels harder than it used to. Maybe your knees ache when you go down the stairs, or your back feels stiff after sitting too long. If you're over 50, chances are you've noticed changes in your bones and joints that weren't there in your younger years. This is the reality many of us face, and it can be discouraging. Bones that once felt unshakable now seem fragile. You might worry about osteoporosis, fractures, or losing independence as time goes on. It's a fear many of us share but don't always talk about out loud. And yet, in the middle of these worries, there's a simple everyday food that could play a much bigger role in protecting your bones than most people realize: the humble egg. Yes, the same egg you might fry for breakfast or boil for a quick snack actually carries nutrients that speak directly to bone strength, especially for seniors. And today, we're going to dive deep into why that is, what the science says, and what it could mean for your life after 50. When we talk about bone health, most of us immediately think about calcium. We've been told for decades: drink your milk, take your calcium supplements, and your bones will thank you. And yes, calcium is vital, but here's the truth that doesn't always get enough attention. Calcium alone is not enough. Imagine pouring cement for a foundation, but never having the proper tools or structure to set it. That cement won't form into a strong, lasting base without help. Bones are similar. They need the right combination of nutrients to absorb calcium effectively, to repair themselves, and to stay dense and strong. This is where eggs come into the story. Eggs contain vitamin D, a nutrient that works like the gatekeeper for calcium. Without enough vitamin D, your body struggles to absorb calcium from your food, and your bones don't get the raw material they desperately need. Think of vitamin D as the key that unlocks the door for calcium to enter your bones. Many seniors, especially those living in colder climates or who don't spend much time in the sun, are deficient in vitamin D, which means they're leaving their bones vulnerable. By simply including eggs in your diet, you're giving your body a natural boost of this critical nutrient. It's like giving your bones permission to soak up strength. But that's not the whole story. Eggs also bring protein to the table, and protein is another often overlooked piece of the bone health puzzle. Bones aren't just calcium sticks, they're living tissues made up of a dynamic matrix that relies on protein to stay flexible and resilient. Seniors who skimp on protein often find their muscles weaken, which then puts extra stress on the bones. Fragile muscles mean more falls, and more falls mean higher risks of fractures. By eating eggs, you're feeding both your muscles and your bones, giving them the building blocks to support each other. It's a two-for-one deal your body will thank you for. Now, let me pause and ask you, have you ever been told to cut back on eggs because of cholesterol? For years, eggs were demonized as the enemy of heart health, and many people over 50 stopped eating them altogether. I remember talking to a neighbor in his 60s who used to eat eggs every morning but gave them up out of fear. Over time, though, research has shifted. We now understand that moderate egg consumption is not only safe, but can be incredibly beneficial, especially for seniors. The cholesterol in eggs doesn't affect blood cholesterol the way we once believed. And in fact, eggs bring in nutrients like choline, lutein, and vitamin D that support not just bones, but also brain and eye health. So instead of fearing the egg, it's time we reclaim it as an ally in aging well. One fascinating detail I often share with friends is about the yolk. That golden center isn't just tasty, it's where most of the bone-supporting nutrients live. People sometimes throw away the yolk to avoid cholesterol, but in doing so, they're tossing out vitamin D, vitamin K2, and healthy fats that work together to strengthen bones. Vitamin K2 in particular is a nutrient that doesn't get nearly enough attention. It helps direct calcium to the right places, into your bones and teeth, while keeping it away from the wrong places, like your arteries. Imagine calcium as a delivery truck. Without K2, it might dump its load anywhere, causing problems like calcification in blood vessels. With K2, the calcium gets delivered precisely to your bones, where it belongs. Eggs, especially from pasture-raised hens, are one of the few foods that naturally contain vitamin K2. That's an extraordinary gift for seniors worried about bone loss. Think about it. When you crack open an egg, you're not just preparing breakfast, you're giving your body a toolkit of nutrients designed to hold you up. Literally. Every bite helps protect you against the very real challenges of aging: brittle bones, reduced mobility, and loss of independence. And it's not about eating 10 eggs a day. Even one egg incorporated regularly into your meals can contribute meaningfully to your overall bone health. The power is in the consistency, not the excess. Of course, it's not just about what you eat, but how your lifestyle supports your bones. That's why I encourage anyone watching to pair an egg-rich diet with weight-bearing exercises like walking, light resistance training, or even yoga. These activities stimulate your bones to rebuild themselves stronger. Imagine your bones as a savings account. Every egg, every step, every stretch is like depositing into that account, building a reserve of strength you'll rely on in your 70s, 80s, and beyond. If you've ever worried about becoming frail, about the possibility of needing assistance just to move around your own home, this is your chance to take back some control. Now, let me share something more personal. My aunt, who is now 74, used to complain constantly about her aching hips. She was terrified of breaking a bone because she'd seen friends go through the nightmare of hip fractures and long recoveries. When we talked about her diet, I noticed she rarely ate protein and had long ago cut out eggs. I gently encouraged her to bring eggs back into her routine, scrambled in the morning, sometimes hard-boiled as a snack, or even baked into a vegetable frittata. Over time, paired with simple exercises and vitamin D supplements, she noticed her energy improve, her aches decrease, and her doctor even remarked that her bone density scan showed positive changes. This wasn't magic. It was the power of small, consistent choices. That's the message I want to leave with you today. Aging is not about decline, it's about adaptation. Your body is still capable of building strength if you give it the right tools. Eggs are not the only solution, but they are one of the simplest, most accessible, and affordable options out there. In a world full of complicated supplements and expensive health trends, sometimes the answer is right there in your kitchen, waiting to be cracked open. If you're nodding along because you've felt the pain of weaker bones or you're worried about osteoporosis, I encourage you to leave a comment below. Share your experience because you're not alone in this. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you'd like more practical, science-backed tips for thriving after 50. Your journey matters, and the more we talk about it, the more we support each other. So here's the takeaway. Eggs are far more than breakfast food. They're bone protectors, muscle supporters, and nutrient powerhouses. They hold within them the key nutrients, vitamin K2, protein that seniors desperately need to maintain strength and independence. By embracing eggs, you're not just nourishing your body, you're giving yourself a better chance to live the life you want, full of movement, freedom, and vitality. As you move forward, I want you to imagine the future version of yourself, whether that's 10, 20, or 30 years from now. Do you see yourself walking confidently, playing with grandchildren, traveling, or tending your garden without pain holding you back? That vision is possible. It starts with choices you make today. Something as small as choosing eggs for breakfast can ripple into a future where you feel stronger, steadier, and more alive. And let's be clear, this isn't about perfection. You don't need to overhaul your diet overnight or obsess about every nutrient. What matters is consistency. One egg here, a daily walk there, lifting a few light weights, spending time in the sun. All of these add up. Your bones will respond, your body will adapt, and your spirit will feel lighter, knowing you're investing in yourself. So tomorrow morning, when you crack open that egg, think of it as more than food. Think of it as a promise to your future self, a commitment to strength, and a celebration of the life you still have to live. Aging doesn't have to mean breaking down. It can mean building up, becoming wiser, stronger, and more resilient than you ever imagined. And with something as simple as eggs on your side, you're already on the right path.